Teamwork makes the dream work when it comes to real estate. There's a lot of things that we should be doing as a team, myself, escrow, lenders, title, the agents included. If we could look at it from that point of view, I think things will go a little bit smoother. This is One Stop Transaction Services weekly recap. Let's start talking about what I saw this week and maybe how some things could go better. Starting off with everything, we definitely had a week where it'd be great to make sure the agents are helping me by double checking some of the things in Glide. I know little things. I'll know if it's in an HOA and I can do those corrections. I definitely can ask extra questions if I see any information regarding a water leak or if there's some sort of damage, anything that refers to a insurance claim, because we're going to want supporting documentation for that, or if they just recently put in new HVAC, fridge, something like that, we're going to want any of the supporting docs in the warranty. So I'm going to ask for that. But if you know of something specific to the property, I'm not going to know since I never go there. Please make sure you're just eyeballing that or give me a heads up so we can check for it and make sure it's included. We can always do an addendum. It's not a problem. If they wake up at 2 a.m, we can do an email, transfer that into an addendum. Super easy. But to try and stay on time frames and be ahead of everything, it really helps to have you guys also eyeballing when I'm eyeballing stuff as well. I know it's been crazy. I know we're racing against rates right now, but if you can take 2 seconds, plus then you're also a little bit more familiar with what they're saying about the property, and there may be something you want to investigate or bring up or double check with them as well. If the property's already fallen out of escrow, I've had this happen a lot right now. Stuff is very emotionally volatile. I'm having stuff fall out because people are losing their pre-qualifications because of the changes. Let me know. And when you're countering, we can include those disclosures with your counteroffer, and that takes away that transfer disclosure right of rescission. So we can package it all up. Just let me know. Give me a call. I'll drop everything. Let's package it. Let's do it all at once. That way we're ahead of the game. Everything's over there. You can shorten your time frames. We can have them review everything before they accept. So that should keep the ball rolling and not have the same issues happen again on the next escrow, especially if there's a property that you know that may have a few issues to it, which is okay. If it does, not a problem. We just disclose it. Everything's as is in California when it's being sold. Let's make sure everybody's aware up front. There's no point in locking down a new contract if you know it's going to fall out in 2 seconds because the buyers had no idea what was going on. And yes, I understand they may have walked the property. They still could have no idea what's going on. We all know that. So it's always good to give as much information as possible up front. Let's get it handled right away. Do you have a process checklist? Do you have something you do like, this is my process checklist? Do you want me to take a look at it? Is it something that I can maybe help with or augment? Maybe I know a step that's getting missed, or maybe it's something I should be aware of. So I can be taking on that step to add it to something I can take off your plate. If I know what you're doing or what your process is specifically, the more I can help you out. So I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to put together a general list. If you don't have one, I'm going to be working on some. But really, certain things are so specific and individualized to the different brokerages and things. I can give you a framework, but if there's certain little steps you want to take, let me know. Let's take a look at it. Let's see if it's something I should be incorporated in all of my files, or it's something where I'm like, hey, stay in your lane, too much. There's risk here. What's going on? So let me take a look at that. Let's see what we can do. When you go into Glide or when you go into WinForms and you're starting doing an offer or you're starting to do a listing, you can add me as a TC. And the sooner you add me, then I have access right off the bat and I can get in there and start helping, and I can make sure the disclosures are in there correctly and everything else. If I'm not added, I can't help. So make sure you're including me as soon as possible from the beginning. If you let me know why something's going on, if something seems weird on a file and I start questioning it, and the agent's like, well, just it's fine. It's fine is an answer that I'm going to push against, because it's fine is what causes problems, because it's fine means we haven't properly documented it. We probably don't have you covered in the file, and we may be slapping things together to keep a deal together just to keep everybody's emotions in check. My job is to be fearful so you can be fearless. And I'm going to be fearful because you didn't hire me to be your bestie. You hired me to be there and look over your files and question things and make sure you don't have to deal with this file in 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, that we're doing everything to do your fiduciary duty for your clients, and we're doing it to protect them. I'm not your typical TC. I'm not just a TC. I am definitely somebody who's coming from a risk management bend, and I'm trying very hard to make sure you're protected, even when your head's in the clouds, which is where it should be, because that's how you get those sales and that's how you keep pushing forward. I just want to make sure it's documented so you can stay up there. That's my priority. Is everybody in the loop? We need to make sure we're including the other TC. We need to make sure we're including escrow. I know we're all going super fast, but we need to make sure everybody knows what's going on. We need to be including the property address, on the subject line. We need to make sure as much information as possible. I need this. The lender needs this. Let's put the lender then in on the email. There's no reason to have everybody pieced out. Let's get us all together as a group. We're a team, and the teamwork is what makes the dream work. Sooner we can all get connected, we can all fit into our crazy schedules, and we can keep the flow going much smoother, which is definitely a priority for me. Did you receive all your documents with the counters? I've had this happen a couple times. I'm just as bad. I haven't been checking as much as I should have because as we all are putting out fires and going crazy. Make sure if it says you have a certain document, statewide buyer and seller, a TOPA, a TOA to the counter, seller multiple counter to a buyer counter to a seller counter to this counter, make sure you've got all your docs. If they say it's included and you didn't get it when you start doing the offer process, let's catch it early. I'm definitely going to start going back through and pushing back a little bit more to chase stuff as soon as possible. Typically, I'll wait and clean it all up when we do disclosures, but let's just go ahead. Let's get it as soon as we can. Things are going at speed of light. The better package we have together. Another one, when you're doing your counters, have everything signed at the same time with the counter. Technically, if you don't have mediation and arbitration initialed when you have the counter initialed, it's not part of the contract unless you've written into the counter stating that it is part of the contract. It's little stuff like that. And then we have a missing initial. And then we have a processor who is held up, and escrow can't send out their stuff. And everybody's like held up over these dumb little things. If we take 5 minutes at the beginning, go ahead and get the counters and the contract signed. I'm sorry if you're doing multiples. I know it sounds like a lot of extra work, but it's DocuSign. Let me know. We can set up templates. There's some baby steps we can take now to make sure you keep flowing like crazy, and it's going to save you time on the back end. So when we go to close, we're already ready to go. All of our docs are clean. Hopefully we can close on time, if not early, and that gets you out there moving to your next deal. And my priority is to help you meet your team or your file goals and your team goals this year by making sure we speed everything up and get it as expedited as possible. We need to make sure that we are using the most current version of every single form to get that car benefit of why we use these car forms, why you pay for them, as well as for your E&O to cover you. You need to be on the most current form. If you have a question about it, you can check in win forms, give me a call. Majority of everything should be 21 on the bottom. You can look in the bottom left-hand corner. Everything was almost, I think it was 87? No, 78. I keep reversing that. Disclosures, including the contracts, were updated, addendums, and everything else in December. That's why it's been such a huge change. So you got to double check, make sure you're using the most current one so you have that protection and why you use the and everything else. I don't want some little stupid thing to be the reason why you didn't get coverage. If you need to have a complete, I should say, if you think, let's push for close. Let's close. I want to close. My client wants to close. Lender wants to close. Everybody wants to close. If I don't have a complete file, we need to stop closing. I've had files closed incomplete recently. It's the first time I've had this happen in over 15 years. The other side, we have not been notified about closings. Things are closing early. They were not ready to close. I appreciate that the escrow, the title, and the lender are ready to go. If your broker file is not complete, going for signatures afterwards is basically a red flag of saying you didn't do your job. And I really don't want to do that. And I don't think you want to do that. That's part of why I do those updates constantly and include escrow and everybody on it saying, hey, we have things missing, reports, other documents. If it's outstanding, we need to have that. You're not going to get paid. I'm not going to get paid. And that's not why we do this job. I mean, I love it, but at some point we both do want our paychecks. So please let me know if you have any inkling of an early closing. Make sure everybody knows that we need to be in sync, that we need to make sure you have a compliant file because I want you to get paid on time. And I want to be able to, get this off your plate and get you moved on to your next transaction. If an inspection calls at work and a buyer is not having completed, say a buyer on their own had a pest report done, say they are suggested to do mold inspection, like it really is not just a general, or they were told to get a pool inspection. This is something that we need to be documenting on the BIW. And what you do, what I'll do is in section 4 of the BIW, it states that these different inspections were provided and buyer is choosing not to do anything further with them. It's a belt and suspender to check, document, and protect you that you've had these conversations. I also would say put it in email to your client, have them respond. We have them sign that email with the BIW, with the inspection. Nothing's 100%, but I want to put as many layers between you and a potential issue down the line. And while everybody's in the moment, we get all excited, but sometimes things get forgotten. So the more we can document, the better off it's going to be. Please remember, pest reports are all reported to the state of California, every single one. So if you've got a client who's shopping to try and get a better price, that's fine. But we need to document every single one of those reports, and they all have to be provided. And again, if one calls out a clearance and one doesn't provide the clearance and things don't match, we got to do that section in BIW4 again to protect. This is an issue that's come up several times recently. Escrow also needs to be notified because they are also responsible for that if it's in the contract. If it's not in the contract, then we're in investigations, different story. But if it calls for pests in that contract, they need every single pest. It's not something we can do to hide. This is not something we sweep under the rug. We just document it. As long as the same type of level of clearance is being given, the same work's being done, if your client getting a better price, awesome. Good on them. Good job. You should do that. But if not, then what if it comes back and it looks like you hid something? And all you have to do is have one inclination that something was hidden on a file, and that just opens up a whole can of worms. And that's not the game we want to play. So again, transparency, full communication, full disclosure is always the best way to go. Make sure that you are double checking the physical matches the items on the TDS. I had a recent issue about an air conditioning unit where it was not on the TDS, and the physical inspector stated there was an AC unit. So that's something because you're being at the property, you're going to eyeball and you're going to be more aware of. But if there's things that are not included and suddenly are missing after close of escrow, TDS is going to supersede your MLS. TDS is going to supersede everything. So let me know if there's something you're wondering about, or just kind of eyeball and double check everything. Because again, I'm not physically at the property, so I don't know. I'm going off of all the documents. I'm going off the MLS, I'm going off the TDS. And then sometimes if we need to, I'll go research the physical, but typically I don't review that because I'm not there. So I can't tell you yes or no about that. If you're canceling the file, we need to get the CC form signed up as soon as possible. Just sending an email or a text saying you're canceling is not the same. We've got to get that out there. The top section of that document is going to cancel the transaction. The bottom part of that document, that would be the CC, the cancellation contract, is what's going to get the deposit released and returned, or whatever dispute or discussion may be taking place over it. The TOPA, the tenant in possession addendum. This is needed every single time. If you have a tenant even in that property for 3 hours after acceptance, we need a TOPA. Things have changed very much in the past 2 years, especially with tenancy, tenant rights. There's a lot of issues about people finding new locations to live in, new rentals, the rental pricing increases. There's a lot of moving parts for this type of situation. We need that verbiage. We need that included. Even if the tenant's going to vacate prior to close of escrow, even if we know everything's settled, we got to have a TOPA. 1 minute after that offer is accepted, we still need a TOPA. It's all in there. It's just documentation to cover everybody. Let's see. Tenants get to sign too, or excuse me, not tenants, agents. Agents get to sign too. Remember, you do have parts of the contract to sign. You also have the statewide to sign. You've also got the TDS, the environmental receipt, the NHD receipt if you're on the listing side, the RLAS, the potential or possible representation of one or more buyer or seller. You got a lot of things to sign in the contract as well. And your signature, especially on page 3 of the TDS, can hold up timeframes. So please make sure you're taking your time and looking through your documents to sign your sections as well, and that you're signing the contract. That's a big one. And when you are signing the contract, make sure you're adding your email address, as we've talked about. It's not going to do it automatically for you, so you're going to need to populate that. Review the boxes and attachments. So the other thing is, you got to mark the boxes. If you're doing a request for repair and the seller accepts, we got to mark the box. If they're doing a 4R in response, we got to mark the box. If they're removing contingencies, we got to mark the box. So signatures alone won't work. And if you're rushing through stuff, give me a call. I can drop stuff. I know I've been crazy too. If you need something, I will move you up the list. But if I don't know it's urgent, I don't know to do that. And sometimes I know which spots get missed the most, so I know where to look. Or if you have a question, or if you're like, hey, could you double check this for me? Let me know. I can definitely help. I just need you to let me know you need it right this second. Otherwise, I'm always focusing on working on files in the order of closing. That's going to be my priority. Let's see. If you're doing a different type of transaction, a trustee sale that you've never done before, a probate, manufactured home, vacant land, give me a call before you get started. There may be somebody in your office that might make sense to partner up with for this first one, because the amount of education could be worth sharing that commission. And this could open a whole bunch of doors or also protect you from some missteps that you may have not known to look for because it's not something you've normally done. I'm all about everybody learning and let's learn together, but let's get you with experts and people that can support you and help you do what you want to do. Yes, it may cost you a little bit, part of the commission, part of the time, and things like that. But why not get connected, get that on the job training, get that education, get that experience, and then that's going to pay off on the back end so you can do more of these deals, no problem. That's a really good one to make sure you're keeping an eye on. Now for me personally, just to give you a quick update, wanted to let you know that I am going to be taking a swim class twice a week to get rid of my COVID butt. And as a reminder, I'm going on my vacation. I leave Wednesday, May 25th, and I will be back in the office officially working the morning of, I believe it's Wednesday, June 1st. So I'm going to take a whole week, but 3 of those days are Memorial Day, and that Tuesday I'll be around, but not 100%. As always, with everything, please verify with the broker of record. Feel free to give me a call with any questions till I go on my little trip because I am going to be camping and totally unplugged. I'm here and happy to help. You can reach me at 619-993-7264. I look forward to helping you. I really appreciate being on the team. I'm Sam Hayes. I'm One Stop Transactions, and your success is my business. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.